it's a very simple mission because it's to build a perfect grinder, and we do believe in that. I would say that the driving force of Mazzer is the product, because we love making grinders.
We've just had an early start this morning from Venice Island. We jumped on a boat and made our way here to the mainland to visit the Mazzer factory. Now, if you've had any experience in the coffee industry of Australia, you have worked on a Mazzer grinder. You know they're reliable, they're bulletproof, and they've been the backbone of the specialty coffee industry in Australia. So for me, it's fantastic and exciting to be here to find out how these grinders are made, the heritage behind it, because it's just so deep and so wonderful to be able to have a product that works really well but has phenomenal history and meaning behind every piece. So we were able to meet Luigi Mazzer at the train station and have a ride here to be here today with him.
It's a pleasure to have you here.
No, it's definitely our pleasure to see an insight of what you and your family, multiple generations, have been doing for so many years.
Thank you for making the time to come and visit, and I'm looking forward to show you the factory. So
I believe this was first started in 1993. You came to this site, is that correct?
So yeah, this stone here shows 1993 because it's the year where we moved into these facilities. So when we first moved here, this used to be a tomato processing company, and so my dad bought this plant when he was about my age, 32 years ago, and so we have converted it to a production of grinders, and so yeah, no, I'm looking forward to show it to you now.
Beautiful. We didn't get one. Is this any family in the photos?
So exactly. So this is a bit of a museum, some historic pictures of the company. We used to manufacture our grinders in Mestre, so Venice County. The company was established in 1948 by my grandfather Luigi. So the company and myself, we are named after my grandfather. So yeah, basically we've been making flat burr grinders and flat burrs since 1948. He used to be a very skilled mechanical worker. And then during the Second World War, he had to move to Brescia to Bakke, airplane factory. And when he moved back to Venice after the war ended, he converted his small workshop to grinder manufacturing, and since then that's history. So in 1948, we've been making burrs since then, and it's funny because I always tell the story that we used to harden the burrs with a pizza plate.
Pizza oven.
No, you know the thing where you scoop the pizza inside the oven?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, basically they were taking the
peel, pizza peel.
Pizza peel, exactly. So they used to take this pizza peel and put the burrs into the oven, shield themselves with a lid of a bin, and temper the burrs this way. So it was artisanal, but it was high quality since then. So yeah. These are some of the very first models. Esportazione means exporting, because we have been exporting to France and Germany since the very beginning. This is a dozer grinder, so if you push here, there's this mechanism that it makes this element spin and dispense the dose.
And these are all glass hoppers. The glass is locally produced?
Yeah, exactly. So these are all glass hoppers. The glass used to be made in Murano Island.
The styling is very Italian. They're bold lines, beautiful curves and shapes. Who has the most impact in design in business?
You mean today or in the past?
In the past and today, yeah.
I mean, it's always been a family-owned company, so I would say my family and the family that were involved in the company back in those days were always very much involved in the design of the grinders themselves. We didn't use to 3D design the grinders on the computer. We used to make models made out of chalk and wood for prototypes to decide to pick the style we wanted. And so that was the 3D design back in those days. For instance, these elements here, they alternate elements of aluminum and brass, not because of a technical reason, but just because we thought it looked good. So, and these glasses here, made in Murano Island, basically they're made by hand. The worker blows into a pipe, and there's this hot ball of glass that expands into a mold and gets the shape of the grinder. So this is kind of bubbly texture. I like it very much. I think it looks beautiful.
It's beautiful, yeah. And so as you go along, there's certain things that have been developed over time. I mean, that's actually a doser that you would see similar in today's technology. You know, way back then you had your portafilter tamper on there. Obviously you just evolve in terms of engineering.
Absolutely.
But you had some of the really early concepts in grinders and what we're still using today.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, we were the first ones to patent stepless adjustment. The patent expired a few decades ago, but I think it's been one of the great advancements in the grinding industry. So, for sure, back in those days, you know, there was not on-demand by time or by weight grinding. It was mostly either doser grinders or bulk grinders. So, for instance, this is one of the probably one of the oldest grinders we have. We used to grind, you know, into this cup here and dispense into a bag, or you know. And this was probably one of the very first logos. So Luigi Mazzer, he's my grandfather's first name and family name, his phone address and home address. I think, you know, it's an example of accountability and standing behind the product. So.
Can you still ring the phone number?
Probably you need.
Your number still today. That would be amazing.
Probably you will need to add, because they didn't have this phone number used to be 5 numbers. So it was, you know, because there were not that many phones back then. So probably now, you know, you would need to add some more numbers.
Yep. And then you go into the Z sort of large style format grinding for retail or pre-ground.
So in this case, ZM, because of the two families, you know, Zocca and Mazzer, that were behind the project of this grinder. If you had come not so long ago, this used to be in a pale yellow. We discovered that the original paint was this beautiful, I don't know, berry-like color. So we decided to bring it back. This was used mainly as I would say a grocery grinder. So, you know, people used to buy beans at the grocery store and ask them to be pre-ground, mostly for mocha pot.
Mocha pot, yeah.
And you set the coarseness of the grind from here.
Yeah, mocha pot's still quite a big way for Italians to
Absolutely,
start their
yeah.
day.
Nowadays, I would say it's either mocha pot or capsules, but mocha pot is it's the coffee, let's say, at home.
Yeah, fantastic.
This is one of my favorites. I think it's very elegant. I really like this. I don't know how would you call it, but like this plissé kind of effect.
Yeah, layered and ribbed effect. Yeah.
And the hopper. So I just think it looks very beautiful. And this kind of neon color here, I think it's very modern. The cup here. So the cup here is all hand hammered, and you have this knocker here to reduce retention. So quite a modern concept, I would say.
Yeah, there seems to be a lot of concepts that were built a long time ago that we're still using today. I mean, the knocker would still be something.
Yeah, absolutely.
The big style dial there, or the ZM. So that the new ZM grinder would be, you know, modelled off that essentially.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Wow.
If we go this way, maybe.
And do you have spare parts for many of these grinders still?
Absolutely. So something that is you know, peculiar of Mazzer is the fact that we, even if we have discontinued some models, we still keep on making, you know, those parts, because in the end, you know, if you have a Mazzer grinder made, I don't know, 30 years ago and it still works, we want you to be able to still use that. So yeah. Why not?
Well, that's the thing. The Mazzer grinders do last a long time. Yeah. I mean, they might need a paintwork or a bit of a refix, but yeah, the motors, the durability is definitely something the brand has.
It's mostly the burrs to be replaced from time to time, and if it's very old, maybe the capacitor, but the motor never break down, and you know, in general, it's a very robust grinder. So yeah.
Yep. This one's a bit unique. What's this one?
So I had to fight a bit to have this in the collection, because, you know, I was told, no, this is not specialty coffee, don't show it. But I think it's quite fun. So basically, one motor on this side, there's a coffee grinder. On this side, there is a Parmesan cheese grater. So if you look inside, you see there's cheese grater. You put the cheese in here, you push this handle, and then you get the cheese in here.
There you go. Two great things coming out of the same.
Absolutely,
same
yeah.
product, yeah.
And you know, back in those days, if you could be a bit more efficient in doing things, you know, after the World War, I think it was good to try to make the best out of what you had.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I mean, this is something that we'd maybe even consider in our own bars now, like a double hopper.
Yeah, for two origins, so yeah, right?
Yeah,
or
two origins.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this was built in
the 60s.
Yeah.
So you set the coarseness here, and then I don't know. I think this the back of the grinder. I think it looks very beautiful, in my opinion.
I think there's a lot of elements you could bring from all of these and make a heritage line.
I agree.
People
Yeah,
would be pretty,
I think people would like them. Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be quite modern for sure in today's standards. So as you progress along, you've got new technologies essentially that you've been doing. Where would be the biggest timeline where something really changed?
So I would say, so these grinders were made in the 60s. If you look at cars made in the same time in Italy, they have similar design languages. I like this one very much, the A84. This is the grandfather of today's Mazzer. So even back then, we used to work on large diameter flat burrs, and I really like the color. First of all, like a coral orange, and then the volumes and this lettering here. I do think this is the style is very 70s.
I mean, a lot of manufacturers are trying to have an 84mm flat burr now. You had it in the 70s.
I agree. I received a picture from a friend of mine from Pesaro, and with this grinder still working in his shop. So
wow. This one's obviously been used in action. It's got all of the pitching there, whether that's a cup or a hand or something going past constantly. That's very nice. I actually like this one. I thought this design here.
This logo?
This looks very, like if you remade that logo today, people would see that would be a racing car.
Yeah, I agree. This looks a bit like a racing car, right?
Yeah.
So this is the Jolly, one of the most popular grinders in history, probably. Many people maybe don't know the reason why this name. In Italy, Jolly is the jack of all trades. So in your deck of cards is the versatile card. And we called it this way because we thought it was a very versatile grinder, so it could be used in many situations. The Jolly was launched in the 70s and the Super Jolly around 10 years later.
Yeah, wow. Getting a little bit more funky here, mate. What is the M90? What's this one? So
90mm burrs, flat burrs, bulk grinder. I think this looks a bit like a Star Wars robot. I like it very much. Basically, the hopper is in here, you throw the bins, you open the gate, and with this one you turn it on, and with this one you turn it off. And there's a knocker again to reduce retention.
Wow.
You set the coarseness of the dial from here, of the grind from here.
Yep. As you go along, you start to see different design elements, whether it was car manufacturing, auto body, which was here, glass obviously for being a local, local artisanal product that
absolutely,
comes from here in the area. Then you get into some real retro stuff, but there's distinctly something happening a bit different in this era, in the 80s.
I think in the 80s,
what do you think happened?
First of all, I think in general the Italian, industrial sector discovered the use of polymers like plastic to make more efficient the production. I think back then the focus was more on function rather than form. But if you, for instance, this grinder here, the M1000, used to have, I don't think it's the best looking grinder in the museum, but it's probably one of the most advanced. So, for instance, here we have brevetti means patent. This patent here, regolazione di macinatura micrometrica continua, means stepless adjustment, what we were talking about. A patent that changed the coffee grinding industry because, that expired not so long ago. And the second one, macinatura rotazione lenta con doppio supporto e parallelismo perfetto, means perfect parallelism, low RPMs. There's a belt-driven mechanism here to transmit the rotation with 100mm flat burrs. So I think this grinder here could be used, today.
That's the spec of today, right?
Yeah, it's
belt
quite interesting specs,
burrs,
right?
Low RPMs, It's like we're going full circle around in the flavor profile.
And so this grinder was launched in the 80s, discontinued maybe 20 years later, but we still make the burrs for this grinder. So, because there's many people still using that out there in the field, and we want to, to support them.
Yeah, it's very cool, very cool.
I'd say that's it.
Enough on that side, yeah.
So the headquarters is in Venice,
yes,
but the factory spans across 2 counties, provinces. So back there we were in Venice, now we're entering to Treviso County. So yeah.
I think that's funny. Does that have any issues with the business in terms of local laws or requirements?
A bit with utilities, like natural gas and water. It's been a bit of a problem.
That's about here.
Yeah, that sign there is the border. So probably this line here is the border between Treviso and Venice.
There you go. So do you have one gas supplier or one electricity supplier, or you have 2?
I think we have one. Even with the trash collector, it was a bit challenging, but in the end we managed.
That's interesting. I mean, it's just quirky and fun to be able to have something different about that.
Sorry.
So this is just your training facility for the team and workshops that you might hold?
Sorry, I was lighting up a bit.
That's okay. This is just your training workshop for staff or external?
Exactly, yeah. So we use this space either for on-site events or for digital events with partners that are not able to come here to the factory. So, for instance, we had some customers from Middle East, about 120 people connected to see the launch of a new product. So we have some presentations of the new products up there, and so the idea is to have a nice place where we can host our guests.
Yeah, it's beautiful, little sit-down coffee area, have an informal chat. You've got your beautiful boardrooms and a wonderful bar to be able to,
But this is also a place for our employees to have their break, so they can sit up, here and enjoy a nice break with some nice coffee. Obviously, the machines and grinders can be used by anybody coming here, so it's a place where we can play, experiment, relax, Do you know these guys here?
These guys, I believe their coffee is pretty good. I think we might have some of that. No, it was wonderful to be able to play here and enjoy the coffee a little bit earlier. Do you ever put your prototypes here and then really play with them with the staff?
Yeah, that's the idea. As well? Yeah, so we don't go through tons of coffee because we're just about 100 in the company, 30 blue collar employees. So I would say maybe a couple kilos per day in the hopper, but still is a way for us to test the grinders before then they go out there in the field. Yeah. So
it looks like a blue weight-based.
So yeah,
Coney, isn't it?
The blue one is the Coney SG that we launched in August a couple of years ago, and this black one is the new Super Jolly G. So we use those 2 grinders for our blends, and then instead we generally use Philos or ZM for single origin espresso or filter coffee. So yeah.
Brilliant. It was really cool to see a different range of colours with the Philos coming out as well. Yeah. And some exciting times ahead with that grinder for sure.
No, yeah, the idea is to give the possibility, even with some accessories with accents, to play a bit with that grinder for people that maybe have already bought it at home and want to customize it the way they want it. So
yeah, brilliant. Go through the factory?
Absolutely, yeah.
Sure.
So in this wing of the company, there's the marketing, sales, product, and customer care office. Downstairs there's R&D. Whereas on the other side of the company we have finance, HR, operations, and purchase.
Okay.
Now we're going downstairs. I like this.
It is nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
I think it's about the details, right? Even the touch points need to be to look good.
Every little piece adds value, definitely. This is very beautiful, very lovely. Good aesthetics, the design.
We moved in this part not so long ago, March last year. This is the break time. Scusate.
No, prego. Good morning. Good morning.
So let's enter. So we are in the process of being certified ISO 14000 and ISO 45000, which are certifications for environmental sustainability and safety at work. So please follow this dark gray path, which is for, not to be crushed by the forklifters. Exactly.
So how big is this facility all up, size-wise?
So do you reason in terms of feet or square meters?
Whatever you have.
So it's about, I think it's 3,000 to 5,000 square meters, the offices, and around 20,000 square meters, the production plant. This building here is the Cheerio building I was talking about, the tomato processing company.
Yep.
We tore it down and rebuilt it from scratch not so long ago. The idea was so Italy is like a seismic prone, it's a country prone to earthquakes, so we had to rebuild it from scratch also in order to be compliant with regulation, and safety. So the whole ceiling is covered by solar panels, so about 50% of the energy cost is covered by those PV panels. So
Yeah, wow.
yeah.
Well, that's good. Is there regulations in Italy to make sure that you are being energy efficient and putting solar on the roof? Like, is the government saying if you're building, you should do it?
There are incentives, but you're not, obliged to do so. So, but in general, Italy is a country where the cost of energy is quite high. So, well, it makes sense for the environment, but it also makes sense from a P&L point of view. So,
Yeah, certainly.
comparing to other facilities, other factories, the ceiling is quite tall, it's quite high. The number of windows, both on the ceiling and on the walls, is way above what's required by law. But because we think having a nice, airy, and well-lighted environment helps with motivation of our people. So
It feels nice.
Yeah.
We've been in quite a few, and this does definitely feel light and bright for sure.
we clean the floor every couple hours, I think, so it's quite clean.
So you've got things like your casting and then some paint work.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit more about how that process happens.
So basically, we work on a make-to-order basis, which means that we hold stock of components. We don't hold that much stock of finished product. Raw materials come from that direction. We stock the components in here. They are assembled in there, and then they exit from the other side of the company.
And
For instance, here we have the painted bodies, aluminum bodies of our grinders.
So you've got three main other companies very close to here that are doing your casting, your paint work, and your electrical components. Essentially, they're a big portion of their business is yours.
So I would say Mazzer is a very vertical integrated company, meaning that whenever we're able to do something in-house, we do it ourselves. When we're not able or when we don't want to do those things inside, we generally rely on a network of local suppliers. So for instance, the painting is done 2 minutes in that direction. The die-casted plant is 5 minutes in that direction. So, and the boards, again, similar story. So we also like the idea of developing the business here in the community and surrounding us. I think it's that there is a social meaning, I think, in this enterprise.
Yeah, definitely supporting local businesses.
Yeah,
supporting
exactly
the community.
right. Yeah. And also helps with quality because if you have I don't know, maybe sometimes we have a slight problem with the die-casted piece, and then we just take our car, we go there, we talk to the supplier, we solve it, and that's it. So helps also with keeping quality standards high.
Yeah. What sort of production volumes do you have in an annual volume for grinders?
About 50,000 grinders per year, I would say. Yeah. So mostly commercial, but also home. So yeah.
Home's a bit of a focus for the business moving forward?
In general, I believe it's going to be an interesting segment to grow in for us. So yeah, I'm positive because I think home users are becoming more and more willing to invest in good products, and I think we have the products to support them in this journey.
Yeah, we just saw the release at Host of the new Mini Mazzer G. I think that's going to be a fantastic home grinder.
I think I hope it's going to be appreciated, not just in Australia, but in many markets around the world. I think it's a very enjoyable grinder to use. So yeah.
And of course the Philos, we've been talking about it. I think it's great. I think it's good, intuitive. It's definitely a step up above in terms of quality, which seems to be what Mazzer does.
Yeah.
Durable, quality, accuracy, and it's good to see.
I think the idea is to bring commercial standards, meaning robustness and durability at home. Obviously, trying to reduce the footprint, to reduce retention, to add some features that home users can appreciate.
Yeah, fantastic.
It's a bit the focus. So on these counters here, production on counters is used mainly for either prototypes or for low volume products. It's a very flexible way of assembling because you just bring your tools and you can basically assemble anything on top of a counter. It's not the most efficient way of assembling. For that, we have assembly lines.
Oh yeah, where things are sliding.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Assembly lines are dedicated for a family of product. They are not as flexible as the counter. You can only make, for instance, a Super Jolly on the assembly line of the Super Jolly, but the cycle time is lower. You take less to assemble a grinder in an assembly line.
Yeah. It's always intriguing to see how many little pieces of the puzzle there is to make a grinder, let alone a full range that you have. How many grinders is there in the whole range from Mazzer?
I think we can go to the showroom later and I show you. I think something that makes Mazzer different from other manufacturers is we have quite a broad range because we do either we make both flat burr grinders and conical burr grinders from low volume to very high volume, single dose, grind by weight, grind by time, dosers. So it's quite a broad range, but the idea is to provide options for customers. So
yeah, fantastic.
So, like in general, since we're talking about Japan, we use Japanese lean manufacturing concepts. So, for instance, the Kanban system means that you have the blue boxes with the components up there, and when the operators in the assembly line finish the box, they put the empty box down there. So, and it rolls this way. So there is an operator from the inventory that comes and collects the empty boxes and replenish the boxes with components. Generally speaking, there is a very low turnover in Mazzer. The last people who retired, last 5 or 6 people who retired, used to work for the company for at least 40 years.
Wow.
Last month we went to an operator in the workshop. He's 42 and he's been working for the company for 26 years, since he was 16-year-old. So.
Wow, good retention. Yeah. In other facilities, that it's been mentioned that they would employ women to do this sort of task because women have a higher attention to detail. Here we're seeing a lot of gentlemen.
Yep. It's a good point.
You have come across in your business?
According to the Italian law, in order to work this way, basically there's a threshold. If the product is heavier than 15 kilos, a woman cannot do that. But we are studying ways of using, cobots or supporting elements to reduce the strain on the operator. Yeah. So that we can also employ women. That's first of all a good thing for equity, but for equality, and in the workplace. But most of all, it's also a way for us to expand the pool of people where we can hire. So it makes sense from an ethical point of view, but also from a business point of view. So at the moment the grinders are quite heavy, and so that's why mostly gentlemen. But
heavy and durable. They feel grounded.
Sure, yeah. No, but it's a good point, the one you mentioned. So I hope in the future, next time you come, hopefully, it's going to be a bit more diverse in that term.
Sure.
Pay attention to this for please. Don't know.
It's a very clean factory.
My father is how can I say, this is a very hygienic person, so he
Yes.
wants this hygiene to be translated into the way we do things here.
Particular is a nice way. That's good. So you have about 100 workers, did you say?
Buongiorno, salve. So in total we are about 100 people, 70 of which are in production, so
Yep.
blue collar factory workers, and 30 of which in the office.
Okay.
I'm sure you see some of those rubber burrs in Australia.
Yes.
So this is the 186C burr for the rubber. This is the spare part inventory.
Okay. The manufacturing side, but
In general, manufacturing in Italy is more expensive than manufacturing in other countries around the world. For us, automation is a way to keep manufacturing costs competitive and to guarantee a high level of quality. In general, robots do not substitute the work of people, but for low value added activities like loading and unloading the machines, performing simple quality controls next to the machine, why not, right? It's a way for us to guarantee a consistent high quality standard and to be able to have a sustainable price in a way in the end. So the 5S of Japanese lean production
yeah.
is to try to eliminate as many waste as possible. Waste can be time wasted, material wasted, anything. So you need to get rid of what's useless. You need to systematize and organize your components, for instance, to clean. So, for instance, one of the reasons why we clean the shop floor so often is because if there's some leakage from a machine leaking some oil, if the floor is clean, you notice that more quickly, right? To standardize and to have a lot of discipline, let's say internal discipline. So it's an Italian company, but we really love Japan. I don't know if I mentioned already, but I think we have a lot to learn from that culture.
Yeah. They're very methodical.
Very methodical
precise.
and precise.
Yeah. Great. It's quite a large facility from what we've seen that just do grinders. There's places that are far smaller, trying to produce grinders, coffee machines,
But
or
I think
other products as well.
the big difference is if you're just assembling, you don't need that big of a space. If we were just assemblers, we could have used only the building you saw at the beginning. Usually other manufacturers rely on external suppliers to do the things we just saw. And in general, it's funny because the grinders has historically been seen as an accessory to the machine. Like maybe 30 years ago, people were paying attention to the machine they had, and the grinder was just an accessory to that. I think the more and more the coffee industry progresses, the more people realize how important the grinder is. Obviously I'm biased, but I would say if you have a budget, invest in the grinder. And also manufacturing a grinder, it is complicated. It's because it's about machining with tight tolerances and stacking up these tolerances, in an effective way. There is many similarities with the Swiss watchmaking industry, like all tiny components putting together to achieve a good result. So, in general, for a grinder, the quality of the grinder is given by the sum of the quality of its components. So.
We're trying to get people to spend 30% of their whole budget on a grinder. So if it's a $3,000 grinder, try and spend $900 or so on a machine. Once you get into an Italian E61 style lever machine, you can't use your Breville, basic grinder. It's just not going to grind fine enough over the quality. So we're pretty clear on that messaging, and I think people are understanding it now. There's zero resistance when you explain that.
Depends how educated the market is, because I think Australia is a bit more educated than other markets around the world. I think sometimes in Italy, people think that the beverage magically comes out of the machine, and they don't know what comes before. So, yep.
Yeah, well, we'll keep educating them.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know, nothing special in there. We keep the storage of paper boxes there in case that goes
Goes in on fire.
on fire. It's separated. The reason why it's a similar reason why production of glass is made in Murano Island and not in Venice Island is because the Venetians moved the production of glass on a separate island because ovens are involved in the making of glass, so fire is involved, and so they said if something goes bad, only that island burns down. So maybe we took inspiration from the old school Venetians.
No, it's smart. You've got to protect your assets, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Have you thought to offer customizable things for people? Is there a way where you can customize an element of a grinder where people could personalize it?
Well, for instance, now with the new Philos accessories like wood accents or in general metal accessories, I think people, especially at home, want to do that. When it comes to commercial grinder design, it's an element that I would like us to incorporate for the future, like maybe some panels or elements that could be easily detached, painted with the color the customer wants, and then put it back into the grinder. So this is the showroom. Buongiorno. So this is where we show our customers the range. So for instance, this espresso cup shaped tables support the product. So for instance, this is the new Mini by Time. This is the Omega, the hand grinder. This is Philos, the single dose grinder. Then we have flat burr range, so super jolly and major. The conical range, so Connie, cold and robot. And here we have the G range, so Mini G, Super Jolly G, and Connie G. You can recognize them because the base is the thing that supports the scale. So. Yep.
This is beautiful. This is how I'd like our showroom.
So again, from low volume to high volume, from doser grinders to grind by weight grinders, single dosing, home, commercial, conical, flat. It's a very wide range. The idea is to be able to always provide solutions to our customers. Here are some examples of burrs. This is a 140 ml burr from the Czar, a model that was discontinued in early 2000s, but we keep on making it because of the reason I was saying before, to give a way for our customer to keep using our grinders.
Was that a big commercial flat burr for large volume?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
commercial grade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At Host, we just launched a new line of conical burrs. So for instance, this, we call it double Z maybe in Australian English. The general knowledge, or the general belief, I would say, was that conical burr grinders are able to perform well only for a specific kind of coffee, so maybe on the darker side of the spectrum, and mostly maybe for milk-based drinks. But I don't believe in this. I think it's just a technology, and I think conical burr grinders can do very well also for single origin espresso, and to take out the best out of coffee, expressing nice clarity and floral notes. and this is why we have decided to launch this new line of burrs. You see the way that the beans engage with the burrs. In here, let's say at this stage, so this stays fixed, this spins. Beans here tend to explode, and then they are refined in the later stage here. So we call this stage pre-breaking and then finishing. In here, you don't have that exploding stage of the bean. It's cut more uniformly from start to finish. So we would rather call this maybe a pre-cutting stage and then a finishing stage. So I'm very excited about this new conical burrs.
Yeah, we've always talked about this being a bit more bold and a bit more less subtle flavours coming through. A flat burr typically would be more higher clarity, things like that. But the trade-off obviously is heat with higher revolutions. They're certainly faster and a lot more effective. This technology is very interesting because we are seeing other conical burr grinders not taste typically like conical burrs. So whether it is this much, I don't know how many teeth that is, but the higher tooth count, the longer striation as well, giving more clarity.
So I think these burrs have the benefits of conicals, so lower heat, lower RPMs, and if you like the profile of a flat burr, you can achieve that with this set of burrs. At the moment, these are available for the new Coni, but the idea is then to extend it to the whole range.
Yeah, wow, very impressive. And this coating on the burrs, what's this finish that you've got?
So this, the thing with coating is that coating is non-NSF compliant, the American certification body. So we do it when some specific customer asks for that, but in general we don't love coating for this reason. So we rather try to work with less ductile, more durable steel, and we'd rather not work so much with coating because in general I don't know if you want to put this on record, but just to share it with you, the idea for NSF is that you should not put coating on something that is subject to wear, because then you end up eating that. So
when I say coating, I mean there's carbon coated, all these other types of things, but also what about is it electrolysis plating? So you're actually impregnating the actual metals to make them. Is that what you're doing in this process?
There's different way of coating. I'm not sure the process. This is titanium. It's called tin titanium nitrogen coating. I'm not sure about the process at the moment, but there's different way of doing that. But in general, there's an additional layer of another element beside steel on top of that. So that makes the external surface of the burr more durable. With the WC line of burrs, what we are doing is we call it a plasma nitrogen treatment. Basically, elements of atoms of nitrogen enters the crystalline structure of the steel to fill the void spaces and to make it more durable. So we have a longer durability, but we don't have, a real coating. So I think it's a lot more durable and NSF compliant. So I think it's a good solution.
Yeah, being the manufacturer and choosing the metal or the resource is going to help that for sure.
I'd like to show you this. We were talking about customizations and home. So I really like these new Philos colors. To me, for instance, this green one. So this is brushed anodized aluminum. I think this green here looks like a silk tie from Ferragamo. So I don't know. I like the green one very much. But the blue one is also very elegant.
Do you have any of these at home? What's your setup at home?
At home, I use I don't have a big kitchen. I was saying it to Ryan before. I don't have a big kitchen, so I use so as brewers, I have a AeroPress, a V60, and a Moka pot, and I use the Omega hand grinder. So generally speaking, espresso at the workplace and longer drinks at home.
Yeah, I think this color range is going to be really interesting. Have you had feedback about which color yet that people want you to produce?
I would say the most popular options have been the blue one and the green one. The pink one, I've seen mixed reactions. I think the ladies have liked it.
I think this lid is beautiful.
I agree. Yeah, it looks beautiful.
It adds a lot more value than the plastic.
I agree.
Lid, and the dosing pot lid as well.
Yeah, that's also
very nice.
Yeah, I agree. Well, you know, we try to work on the touch points of the grinder to make them feel premium. So, for instance, originally this was supposed to be, I think, plastic, but then we say no. The user touches that every time they grind. So in the end, we made this of stainless steel metal, and we just think it looks better and feels better.
It feels amazing. That's definitely one of the highlights of the moment. This part in every other grinder has been cheapened.
Yeah.
But that is so tactile and feels wonderful.
I do love the stainless steel lid. Yeah, it looks beautiful. Nice.
Very, very cool. This is a wonderful showroom. Yeah.
Thank you.
It presents the brand very well.
Have you seen the marble coffee beans on the floor? This is me in Melbourne in 2012.
Oh wow.
Yep.
Is this your grandfather up here? Luigi?
This gentleman here?
Yeah.
Actually, this gentleman here is Kent Bakke, honorary president of La Marzocco.
Oh, Kent Bakke, yeah.
Kissing a mini.
Yeah, we managed to meet Kent this trip, which was wonderful.
Nice. There's another picture of Kent back there. Sorry. In his Mini with a Mazzer Mini, it's number 5.
There you go. Is there a photo here of your grandfather?
Not here, actually. He didn't like to be pictured, so there's not that many pictures of him.
Okay.
We're crossing the border again.
Yeah. Oh, just on the lower level?
Yeah, exactly. Ciao. This is the R&D meeting room.
Oh, great.
There is Giacomo.
How are you?
Nice to meet you.
Likewise, yeah.
This is where all the important decisions are being made.
If you ever need me to have a seat at the table, I'm more than welcome to help.
Grazie Giacomo.
What is the vision or mission statement for Mazzer?
So we've been certified ISO 9001 since I think the end of the 90s, and the very first page of that certification is the mission statement.
Yeah.
And in there, it's a very simple mission because it's to build a perfect grinder, and we do believe in that. Like it's truly I would say the driving force of Mazzer is the product, because we love making grinders, truly, and we just want to keep on improving them year after year. So I don't know if this answers the question.
Yeah, I mean that's it's interesting. So ours is to empower baristas to make great coffee by providing resources and tools and inspiring them to do so, and then for cafes to run successful businesses.
Yeah.
Because we can focus on those two, essentially we know that the coffee itself will be looked after, but then also the business itself will be growing and thinking outside of just make the cup of coffee.
Yeah.
And if it's just straight up to make the perfect grinder, I can see perfection
it's a very let's say the DNA of the company and the people that make it. It's quite technical. So let's say in business schools they teach you to be customer focused. I think sometimes we are even too much focused on the product, but this is who we are. I mean, we really love touching, making, manufacturing the product. So in general, in all truth, it is a product-based company. So we do enjoy making the product a lot. And then obviously you need to think of your customer and how they will use the product. But I think if you don't enjoy making the products, then what's the point of being a manufacturing company? So.
A lot of businesses have an issue in being able to get a product to market in the right timing to have the perfect success. It can be seen as analysis paralysis. You know, do we overthink? Do we really have all those things in mind? And then that can hold them back because someone beat them to the next technology quicker. Do you see that with the advancements of AI, you know, robotics, engineering and things, you mentioned 3 years for a product to come to market. Do you think that you'll be able to pivot quicker with the use of new technologies or even your youthful, you know, energy and things come into the company to make sure that you can adapt quickly and move forward?
I think something that not everyone knows is the fact that Mazzer used to be owned by 2 families up until 2018. Mazzer family owns 100% of the company only since a very few years. I think being owner of your own destiny makes it easier to take the right decisions from time to time. And then the fact that between the R&D office and manufacturing plant, there's a 200-meter distance, walking distance. Makes so that you can think of something and make that idea happen very quickly. So I think in terms of assets and governance, we have all the tools, let's say, to react as quickly as we need to the market. It's also needs to be also a cultural shift because generally speaking, Italian companies are like the decision making is based on consensus and a bit maybe more adverse to risk comparing to Chinese or American companies. So that's also an important part, let's say, in agility when it comes to adapting to the market. When it comes to new technology like artificial intelligence or robotics, I do think it can have a huge impact on the manufacturing aspect of the company. I think we spend a lot of time on displays every day. I think people enjoy using lever machines, single dosing grinders like Philos, also because there is no screen in that and because it's just something that you can touch and kind of play with without thinking too much of ChatGPT or social media. And so I see the impact of those technologies more on the process in making us faster and more efficient. I'm not sure whether artificial intelligence will be inserted into the product. I'm not excluding that, but I think everything is increasingly more digital. Sometimes cutting that space to be analogic makes sense and makes it more enjoyable in a way. There is a revenue stream coming from parts, but obviously it's also important to educate the customers to use, for instance, original spare parts and burrs because even there, I mean, to save 10 Australian dollars, then they have a cheaper component that is strategic in the grinding process. And then maybe they blame the grinder because it doesn't work well, but it's because they're not using original spare parts. So the revenue stream is there. It's not as big as obviously the revenue from grinders, but I don't think we provide these parts because of the revenue stream, but because if you have that grinder, it's not that at some point we abandon you and we leave you in underwear. I would say in Italian.
Can make you a coffee.
Awesome, thank you.
Let's go.
Bellissima sacchetta, no?
I know.
It's difficult to make a product that works for every market in the world because every market makes coffee in a different way. Australia is for sure one of the most demanding markets in terms of size of the doughs, amount of kilos that go through the hopper every day, desire for speed also of service, quality in cup. So generally speaking, if a grinder can work in Australia, then it can work in any other market in the world.
Sure.
That's the way we do it.
That's filter, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For espresso, I think he was using 20 dosing Maybe 20, between 20 and 25, I don't know, yeah.
Let's go there. Oh, the auto flush.
You can use the paper there if you want to clean, yeah.
There's all little different things that you have in Italy in the espresso bars here, like this big drawer, and it's just a little different, but still good. Hey, that went everywhere, didn't it? What a mess.
How much dose did you put?
19.
Okay. Let's see. I think it's a 17-gram basket, so.
Yeah, I think I've lost a little bit out of that anyway.
You can use the tea tamper if you want also to tamp.
I just don't want to make mess. It's a very clean bar.
The one on the left is luckier than the one on the right.
It is. Are you still offering this tamper in the grinders?
Do you think we should or not? Because my impression is that people don't use that style of tamper that much today. So I don't know. My perspective would be to stop including that in the box. And then, because for instance, you know, we manufacture other tampers like, you know, the tea tamper, an automated version of a tamper, which I think is a better way of tamping. So
I would save yourself the money and the time and remove
yeah.
that. Yeah, for sure. I don't think no one's buying your product because of that tamper.
Yeah, sure.
They'll be buying another
Yeah.
product. In Australia anyway. But it's,
one is 58, the other is 54, I think.
yeah, if
One
you were
side.
to make a really nice 58.5, let's say, and have a little lip on the edge and make that tolerance really good, but a beautiful handle on the top, and then have a 54, people could buy them as an aftermarket accessory. I think
Yeah.
that would be,
But as an accessory, right? As an option,
yeah, as an option. Because people will buy them. We find that people are very happy to... is there merchandise part of your vision?
Wait a second.
Like Mazzer shirts or extra little branding bits and pieces?
I was trying to see if I was able to, oh yeah. There's a rug here if you want also. I think merchandising could be an interesting addition to the things we offer. I think people sometimes have a connection, an emotional connection to our brand, and maybe they would like to wear a Mazzer t-shirt or, you know, have a Mazzer bag. So,
Yep.
so why not?
I think cool branded things, a range of the products. Even it was the pencil line drawing
Yeah.
of a grinder on the back and just a little Mazzer brand
Yeah.
or something, or Philos, or
Yeah.
those things. I think you could actually have a
Yeah.
range, not to give away free.
Yeah.
People will buy them. Well, sir, I have your champion espresso.
Thank you so much.
All the way from Australia for you there.
Thank you, Luke.
That's all right. Would you like an espresso as well? Sure, I will have. Yeah, you can have this one, please. Yeah, enjoy. So champion blend, it is designed to go with milk for sure, but it is okay for us in a black, long black. So a little bit of water in there just to open up the flavour profile a little bit more. Yeah, we have a balance of acidity and some sweetness, but our dairy is what we're trying to cut through a lot of the time. And we have a lot of fresh milk, so
you get that nice acidity. Looks sometimes when you have dark chocolate, you have that fruity acidity in the types of chocolate, and I feel it here, so it's good.
Yep. This roast we actually just went on to our new Ethiopian and a new Indonesian product as well. So it was a little bit higher in the acidity than we'd probably had liked, but we had no choice because we had to send it to be able to get it here in time.
I think one of the main messages I would like to give to viewers is the fact that Mazzer is an 80-year-old company. It's been, it's a third-generation family business. It's been on the market for many decades, and people sometimes tend to associate this company to, very reliable workhorse grinders, but maybe not as much aligned to, modern requests of the market as of today. And I think, one message I would like to give to viewers is the fact that, the third generation has entered the company, myself and my sister. We doubled the size of the R&D department by hiring many engineers. We've invested a lot in renewing all the facility, like all these new spaces, brand new. We entered here 18 months ago. And so, in general, both from let's say from a governance, from an operations, from an R&D point of view, and also from a marketing point of view, we would like to, how can I say, be a very interesting player also in the next 8 years. Because again, I think maybe we had a bit of a, how can I say, name for being okay, a good product, but a bit old school. I think I would like also the term innovation to be associated with Mazzer in the future. So, yeah. I think with the new things we have launched at Host, whether it's accessories and colors for Philos in the home market, the Mini G again for prosumer users at home or in small cafes, with the new Connie and with the new Super Jolly G. With a faster throughput rate and grind by weight technology, I think those grinders can be very interesting, in medium to high volume specialty coffee shops. And then you probably saw the ready, the pre-dose grinder for high work, high paced coffee shops. I think in general, not just for the Australian market, but for many, demanding markets globally. We have had a successful show in Milan a few days ago, and I see the pipeline of the new things that are coming, and I think it's it's exciting. I think it's a cool moment in Mazzer history, and I'm looking forward to see what's next to come.
Well, thank you very much for being able to allow us the back scene, see backstory to what's happening, the manufacturing, and just the heritage that is part of this family, multi-generations. To make the best grinder is what you've said. You can see that all the way through this business.
Thank you so much, Luca. It's been a pleasure, and I look forward to the next time you'll be here again.
Yeah, I mean the layout of the tiles, the walkways, the attention to detail is I've never seen this attention to detail in any other factory or in any other business that we've had access to.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
So that helps me have a lot of confidence to say, I know why the grinders don't, last a long time, and that you chase for perfection, and that's truly a statement you can hold very high in our coffee industry.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I think the ability to change, as you said, being third generation in the business and thinking about what today's consumer is after. That's a really great step to take. changing the conical burrs to have a newer flavour profile so that we can look to, you know, change what a conical grinder's perception is all about. It is fantastic. Offering stainless steel burrs or variations in the Philos. You are catering for the new customer. So
I think a challenge for a family-owned business when transitioning to the next generation is to understand what's good and should be kept, which in my opinion is the attention to detail and the obsession for quality, and what maybe has margins for improvement. I would say that's the challenge, but it's a challenge we are very happy to, you know, to bring forward. So yeah.
Look, Mazzer grinders have certainly been the backbone of the Australian industry. You know, everyone's worked on one, touched one, or felt one, or still has one, and relying on that. But also, I think in the home market, that person bought your grinder, you know, 20 years ago because they knew you were a brand that they should have. The new iterations, Philos and Mini Mazzer G, I think they're going to be fantastic. You know?
I think, you know, I often hear from people saying that Super Jolly maybe was their very first grinder, and I hope, you know, a Mazzer grinder can also be their next one.
Yeah, definitely. So if you are looking for a grinder for your cafe, you know, you're going to have that reliability of 80 years, is it? 80 years of grinder manufacturers in your cafe just being there to support you. But for the home market as well, the new versions, Philoses, the Mini Mazzer G, and the range of burrs that are available can tailor a perfect product for you. So I encourage you to look at our other videos. We have very specific videos on different products to make sure that you can make an educated decision that would be the right product for you. But yeah, from a branding, from a global perception and brand, you've definitely put the bar very, very high in my view of how you build things and the zero tolerance to perfection, which should be commendable, very much so.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it, and you know, I think these compliments should be passed to my father and my grandfather before him. So, but you know, myself and my dad Vittoria, we just joined. So, I think it's a big privilege to be part of this history, and also a big responsibility. But yeah, we're happy.
Well, thanks very much for taking us through. I really appreciate it. Thanks everyone for watching. Hope you enjoyed this insight into the Mazzer brand and the history and the heritage that has been around for so long. We'd love to hear what you're thinking right now. Pop a comment down below. You know, have you got a Mazzer grinder? What's your, you know, what did you have first? What did you upgrade to? What are you looking at perhaps in the future? If you've got any questions that we can, you know, connect with, you know, we've got direct connections now.
We're happy to
the team. We can, if we don't have the answer, we'll find the answer for you. So, look, thanks very much, everyone. Please like and subscribe. We appreciate it. It helps us grow the channel, but also, you know, connect with new brands and connect with, you know, the next generation of these companies so that we can continue to give you the best content out there. Anyway, thanks very much for watching, everyone. Here we are in Venice City. Is that what this is called?
In here we're Treviso, actually. Treviso. Venice was on the other side, but yeah.
We're on the wrong side of the building. If you don't know what we're talking about, go back and watch. The building splits over 2 suburbs. So, yeah, thank you very much for watching, everyone.
Thank you so much. Grazie mille.
Ciao.
Ciao.